there was this list released all over the country under Buhari as the president of Nigeria. Initially, people agreed that a lot of people were shown a lot of surprises that what is wrong with Nigeria? I mean, how did things get this bad? Is it the corruption or just some people who have managed to sabotage the system? Or is it just those who are the officials who are responsible for preventing all of this, but have become inefficient or incompetent in their own job? So many questions, because a lot of people believe that the Nigeria of old, right, wouldn't get to this stage that Nigerians have now become like a game to these terrorists across the country, kidnapping Nigerians and ripping them of trillions of naira in the name of ransom. And the government appeared so helpless. What is wrong? Well, most of your own supposed suspicion, right? They are true. Because like I said, in 2018, right, a list was made public. In fact, this was part of what got APC, Egbekebe, elected, wherever in 2015. That was that they needed to expose the sponsor or the sponsors of Boko Haram. Then other kind of terrorists later joined, which now we have 22 different terror groups operating in northern Nigeria alone. So in 2018, names were mentioned, okay, including businesses, who were like mostly bureau de change. The UAE government also released another list of the suspected terrorist sponsor. Nigerians who were living in Dubai, living in UAE, under the cover of God knows what, but they were discovered and their names were made public after it was sent to Nigeria. And remember, when Buhari put together a team or a program where repentant terrorists were allowed to just hold the Quran, okay, and say they won't do it again under their Operation Safe Corridor, where the terrorists captured, right, would eventually be put through a program called rehabilitation and whatever. So they now send these terrorists back into the same communities they destroyed, meeting some of the victims, survivors. And in all of this, it has proven to be a failed policy. So under Buhari, right, in order to pretend that they were also working with the international communities to tracking down or prosecuting the terror sponsors in Nigeria, okay, they initiated what they call the NFIU, all right? And I think that is like the National Financial Investigation, something, your unit, don't mind me, something about financial, okay? So their job was to actually begin to track the activities, financial activities of some certain individuals called, individuals of interest. So when the national security put together a project, all right, to begin to track some individuals, and in the process, they gathered names. People were arrested. Do you get me now? But here is what prevented some of these terror sponsors to escape justice. They had relationship with those in power. For example, they've listed former army generals, right? And I'll kind of break that down for you as well so that you understand the complexity of it. So they've mentioned former military generals as part of the sponsor of terrorism with their names. So they have mentioned bureau de change operators as those who are also like the sponsors. But for those in power, for example, the #1 law officer of the country, Malami, the guy that sold the fake intel to Kenya to arrange the abduction, the kidnapping of Nnamdi Kanu. in 2021 was the same guy that's now being fingered as those that had relationship with the people of interest, including the ones they arrested, questioned, only to be ordered to be freed. And the guy that was the head of the investigation, or part of the investigation, his name is also a retired General Ali Kefi. Now, as you can possibly maybe understand how their things work, we all know that the reason why the terrorism in Nigeria seems to be a lost battle, like Nigeria is so powerless, it's not because the terrorists are so organized or they are so sophisticated and the rest of that. No. There is an internal saboteurs whose reasons of shielding those who were suspected to be terror sponsors, rather than to put them through proper judicial kind of share you get. And if they are found wanting, and these are not suspects like that, they have found them with link to terrorism. But how did they get out? Those who knew Emefiole has been mentioned. Those who knew Malami. Malami is the number one law officer, the guy who was supposed to put together a team to prosecute, including if they have to enact a law by developing a bill, a special law to prosecute terror sponsors and terrorists and all that, right? So Malamu decided to use that resources elsewhere. Here you get now, rather than where it was needed, where they had pure evidence of this terrorist. That's his own indictment. And tonight, like we normally do on Maiyegun's diary, Politico, it is going to be like a storytelling. But I think you're going to like it, because I am going to be picking from what this person said. All right. And also this evening, Sahara reporter also shared an exclusive details of 23 individuals who have been confirmed. Before this information is made public, right? You should know that it is not because they were not existing. It is simply because there were some powerful people who have used their own position to bury investigation, bury prosecution, that even these individuals, if they have nothing to do with terrorism, they will be suing Nigerian government and security agencies and all of that, but they never did. But there are evidences of their arrest, interrogation, and the evidences of what went on behind the scene. That first, this man, his name is Ali Kefi. All right. Now, we're going to use what he said, though. Shall you hear me now? So Ali Kefi, a retired general, was appointed as NFIU. But let me take it on like as it is reported. Okay. So take a look at it. It's like, according to him, okay, he said terror suspects, so alleged financiers were linked to powerful Nigerians, including ex-Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, the former army chiefs, and others, the Emefiole and others, all right? So, from his own reports, I'm going to read the NFIU's stuff, okay? So he said, a groundbreaking counter-terrorism operation personally approved by former President Muhammadu Buhari resurfaced, which is in the controversy of how many of his own appointed ministers and other office holders used their position to shield some of the suspected terror sponsors in Nigeria from any prosecution. And this man on your screen ended up being arrested, okay, for insubordination violation of this. At first, right, Ali Kefi said it was unpicked in 2021 to lead the Operation Service-Wide, OSW, okay, and a multi-agency investigative task force mandated to identify Boko Haram's masterminds, expose their financial backers, and dismantle the networks enabling the insurgency. But according to him, he said the operation unearthed far more than expected. It exposed sprawling network of financiers allegedly tied to senior government officials, influential military officers, and top financial institutions. Normally, you would expect EFCC, NFIUs like this one, right? And every other security agency that is specialized in anti-terrorism, counter-terrorism, to know that if you don't follow the money, you get me now, if you don't follow the money, you are wasting your time. You're also wasting the lives of your own soldiers. Okay? So from what from what I gathered somewhere, I'll tell you that soon, right? So according, they said the NFI's secret briefings to Buhari. So the turning point. So what did they find? According to Ali Kefi, again, the man on your screen. Okay. So Ali Kefi said, oh, hang on. I just missed something there. Sorry, pardon me, okay. He said the information obtained this time by a Sahara reporter from the OSW's workings, okay. They said, working with the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Units, so arrested several high-profile suspects in March 2021. The arrests were based on detailed financial intelligence that tracked flows of money linked to terrorism financing. Now, these findings were formally presented to the President, Buhari, in September 2021 officially, under the auspices of the NFIU. And according to Ali Kefi, he said former chief of army staff, that was Farouk Yahya, featured prominently in the briefing, though information later linked him to one of the arrested suspects. So you see, this person was the former chief of army staff. His name is General Farouk Yahya. So it was mentioned in that their own investigation, and he had a link with Tukur Mamu. Tukur Mamu is a guy that is currently standing trial for, terrorism financing charges. That's the only person. But it wasn't the only person covered by the NFIU. You understand? There were more. But you see, this general, right, is one of those believed to be using his own link to cover some of these activities, because people have said it before, that illegal mining in Nigeria is mostly being perpetrated by the former military generals, some state governors, former state governors, and other people that you can never believe. And they are still there in the public, right? So let's go back to it. Ali Kefi said the very next month, he was suddenly summoned to the headquarters of military police. So on October 18th, 2021, he presented himself only to be detained for several hours after extensive interrogation. Now, the hunter suddenly became haunted because his investigation led him to the highest person in the military, then chief of army staff, the person in charge of the army recruitment and the rest of that. How did you arrive at that? They knew you would find out. Now that they have the report, it will be the time to bury it. That's how they operate, by the way. Okay. However, Ali Kefi said it was, held for hours. So it was then held for 64 days, never charged, never queried, and never tried by any military or civil court before being compulsorily retired. Sounds familiar. Somebody put the stunt there, but that wasn't the whole thing, right? So Kefi, in his own revelation, right, said, in quote, he said, till today, I don't know my offense, And he said his arrest was a coordinated attempt to halt the terrorism financing probe. So meaning somebody high in government buried that probe that could have saved thousands of lives. Tinubu and his gang are currently playing the similar card right now. by saying they cannot prosecute the terror sponsors in public. Are you joking? Are you kidding? That is where this high-flying influence will come in, and they will bury it again while lives lives continue to be lost. So Kefi further said, this particular alleged powerful individuals who have links to these suspects. Let me put Kefi back on the screen. You see this one? His name is Buratai the Butcher. He is also a former chief of army staff. You are going to hear his own part. This was Malami and Boko Haram. And for those who remember the role of Malami during Boko Haram's time, at a point, people said he was the de facto president of Nigeria. He was considered the head of Boko Haram's cabal. He was that powerful, by the way. And today, he is currently being investigated for corruption, looting the returned loot in Nigeria. Similarly, this man on the screen is also fingered. His name is Godless Emefiole. He is a former central bank governor of Nigeria, and he is currently standing trial for corruption of God knows how many amounts. And all of this, right, at the end, with the way the whole thing is playing out, with what this man has said or shared so far, okay, powerful individuals. So Ali Kefi insists that his comments are not based on anonymous sources, but on what he was personally told by the then director and CEO of the NFIU at the time, Modibo Ahmad Tukor Rebadu, who worked directly with OSW. And according to him, 2 suspects arrested by OSW were linked to former chief of army staff, Tukor Buratai. I remember Tukor Buratai was the one who came to tell us who came to tell us that the army never recruited soldiers, that the soldiers were recruited by states, and therefore army cannot be accused of recruiting terrorists. Also, for your information, Tukor Buratai, or simply Buratai the Butcher, he was also the guy that set up the a cow section, you know, the military artsmen, whereby a section of Nigeria military was set aside to provide national security for Fulani artsmen across Nigeria. And the purpose, according to him then, was to protect the Fulani artsmen who have suffered or suffering cattle rustling, you know, from those who always kill the Fulani artsmen and steal their cows. But that, around the time, was like, you know, a bad idea in the sense that there were armed Boko Haram terrorists, ISWAP, who initially were said to have accused the Fulani terrorists, that means the Fulanis or Fulani artsmen, of being informants for the Nigerian military. And therefore, they chased them out of Sambisa, and the Fulani and their artsmen with their AK-47, they started advancing to the Middle Belt and to the south. So it would have been very much sensible for Buratai the Butcher to have used that his much influence at the time to actually crush the armed jihadists, the ISWAP and the Boko Haram at the time, but he didn't in that sense. Okay, but he did try to provide a special security, military protection for the Fulani artsmen. I don't know if they still have that in place now, but here, that was him also mentioned. Former chief of army staff, 2 chief of army staffs have been mentioned now, right? But let us continue. And according to him, Ali Kefi, on the man on your screen, by the way, so he said 2 other suspects were linked to former Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, while 1 suspect was linked to former Central Bank Governor, Godwin Emefiole. So for General Farouk Yahya, he was linked to 1 suspect this time. Now, he said, I am not accusing Buratai, Malami, or Emefiele of terrorism financing, to be clarified, right? He said, but I was informed by the former NFIU director that investigation linked them to some of the suspects. I don't know if they were later cleared, but up to the time that I was arrested, detained, compulsorily retired, and taken off the OSW, they were linked to some of the suspects, of course. He also revealed that Buratai reportedly asked the then NFIU boss to prevail, in quotes now, to prevail on me to release 2 suspects. Ali Kefi said that he refused and instead informed Buratai directly without naming Buratai. So according to Kefi, even Buhari reacted angrily, telling him, in quotes, Buhari, you report to me and to me alone at the early stage, according to this Kefi. But all of that also changed in a matter of, when his arrest was arranged and all that. Boko Haram changed his mind. So, and according to him, he said, or he also, clarified that none of the powerful individuals were directly found to be involved in terrorism. But like he said, those who were found to be funding terrorism have links, maybe business link, maybe contracts, because most of them are Burundi changes. People who are changing money at the time, using that as a cover to run the financing, all this ransom collection and the rest of that. That is now like a thing in Nigeria. They were never like this. Do you understand? But according to him, he said, note that a lot of the suspects were engaged in legitimate business, which was Burundi change, which, however, we suspected were cover for their other nefarious activity, which was terrorism financing. Now, when you are in government and you want to do any legitimate business with anyone, there's something called a security clearance, I believe. And I actually believe every country probably have that in place. That is, if a government will transact with you, they will do background check on you, they will clear you, ensure that you are who you said you are, because it is government, except where corruption comes in, where they can give you accelerated clearance and ignore all the security reports about you and on. So this is where the collusion comes in. Do you get that now? However, since these guys are also thieves, using the Burundi change to do all of their own money transfers, any money looted in Nigeria, they will convert it to naira, to dollars. It will go through these Burundi changes, and it will leave Nigeria to some very much offshore accounts. So in all of this, right, it is still corruption backing corruption. You rob my back, I rob your back kind of a thinking, right? Anyway, here, he said throughout the time that I entered the OSW, we did not establish that General Buratai, Emefiele, Malami, or General Yaya were linked with terrorism financing or knew that the suspects that they were linked with were involved in terrorism at the time. They know. However, he said there was one of their findings where they found a $600 million offshore account, right? And they attempted to give him $50 million from that. Here, he said one of the international suspects, Abubakar Hima, was found to own an offshore account containing about $600 million, which the OSW traced through the NFIU. Tracing the money, follow the money, follow the money. That's how you get to trace every form of crime. Just follow the money. The bankers and all of them who are involved in helping them cover it up under different names are moving this money, money laundering, and the rest of that. Money don't disappear. Here you get. As long as it is not just in cash deal, even cash deal, you will still trace the money, follow the money. But because nobody is really looking for the money, nobody is following it intentionally. That is where the sabotage comes in. That is what has managed to fuel terrorism for so long. Those who should have been taken off the system, including, according to this guy, they also had people that they wanted to take out, including some key leaders of Boko Haram ISWAP, Today they have more than, I don't know how many leaders of terrorists they have in Nigeria right now, or in northern Nigeria alone. So the number has now grown. The list has grown bigger now. But he said they had these 28 of them they plan to take out and others to arrest. Here you get. But that was never to happen or to be completed, because Boko Haram later changed his mind, agreed with Malami and the rest of them, and the investigation to further probe these terror financiers, what have you, right? Terror financiers, right? It was never concluded. And those people have gone to even orchestrate the death of tens of thousands, and I mean even more Nigerians, millions more, displaced in the last 8 years alone. Here you get, since this was probably like altered. Now, if Tinubu and his gang are indeed, they want to be honest and genuine, right? This list flying around, let's call them suspects, meaning the government will then have to use all the information they have with them on these individuals and send a message. Arrest as much as if you arrest over, let's say, 200 people, and eventually realize that out of the 200 people, 100 of them are really, they have direct connection with terrorism, then on the scale of their participation or involvement, they charge and sue all of them. You see, you don't even have to arrest 500 immediately, but with a special court and some special judges lined up, right, with some special laws for this particular purpose, you can send a message. If people like us can have access to all these names, all this information, sure you get, there are those within government who have more enough to keep these people off like circulation. But that is where the compromise comes in, the sabotage comes in. Because even when the government begins to say, okay, they want to really get them, do you know another thing they are going to, another obstacle is going to be the senior advocate of Nigeria, lawyers, senior advocate of, they are ready to collect billions of naira in prolonging the case as much as, finding technical faults to get them off the hook. Nigerian lawyers, Nigerian SANs. That's another obstacle, but the political will needs to be there. The will to say we need to end this nonsense. We are not saying clear everything at once. If you don't have the resources for that, at least make some steps that shows that, you know what, it's going to be a matter of time. Those who are still off your radar right now, sure you get, it will just be a matter of time. They will still be caught. It's not just rhetorics and all that there. We cannot prosecute them in public. We cannot tell you all these things in public. Are you being serious? You have been doing it behind the scenes for years. It has cost lives. It is still actually costing lives as we speak. So to those of you who think that we just come here and criticize and all of that, no. You can also agree with me that they need to show something, giving us excuses why they need peace deal, why they need this, why they have to slow with this for national. All of that are just pure nonsense. There are enough information in the public domain already on this whole thing that if the government actually have intention, we are not saying they are all terrorist financiers. Anybody could be. I don't want to believe anyone was like accused randomly. No. I am saying that it will be an opportunity for those people to clear their names and for government to get their own corporates. In the long run, those who are off radar, we know that their own days are numbered. But how do you do it when you know that you have to begin to arrest state governors, former generals, and so on and so forth? But you have the resources, you have the capacity. So here is what Kefi said. He said they found about $600 million in an offshore account belonging to one of these suspects. So he said he was later told by the then NFIU boss that someone acting for IMA offered $50 million for Nigeria to inform the US that it had no issues with the funds, effectively unfreezing the account. Now, Kefi rejected the offer, you get? But somehow, he said by the time they arrested him, detained him for 64 days, by the time they released him, this is what he found out. He said upon his release from detention, he was informed that the Nigerian government eventually wrote to the US requesting that the account be unfrozen. Who wrote that letter? Who approved it? Here is what Kefi said. He said, Buhari told the NFIU boss to reconcile with Malami over their differences. That whatever your problem with Malami is, go and settle it with Malami. Okay? So they took him off circulation so that they could use their influence. Do you see what issue of them being linked to it comes to light now? He said he's not accusing them. But a working government would then go back and say, hang on, is that true? This person that offered $50 million so that the NFIU could help them write the US government and say that $600 million in that offshore account, which US have already flagged as terror funding. US have flagged the money as terror funding. NFIU have flagged the money as terror funding. So rather than for this suspect to prove the source of the money, they went on to offer money to this chief investigator. When he rejected, his own superiors arrested him for 64 days. They put him in detention. No charges, no trial, no nothing. Then they released him and they retired him. Compulsory retirement. So when he came out, he realized that on behalf of Nigeria government, somebody has already, somebody wrote the US government that money has no issue. Nigeria has no problem with the money anymore. By the time he came out of detention, they have released the entire money to the suspect. The suspect did not only just get the money, he was released from detention. And that was the end of the story. That was the last he heard. Because, he is no longer part of the investigation. In fact, he's retired, and he could probably just go and write it in his diary, never to know anything anymore that happened. Now, here is the thing. A government that is responsible at this point will say, oh, is it true? That's who wrote the letter? What gave you the clearance? What investigation did you get to make you write that letter? And when you begin to trace this, you probably will find that the 50 million naira this guy rejected, somebody else collected maybe 2/3 of the money and said, I will write a letter for you. And who was that law officer that could write that letter from Nigeria other than the Malami that Buhari said he should go and make peace with? I am telling you all of this right now as you are watching this video, right? To let you understand that the terrorism going on in Nigeria is politically sponsored. For those who are using the religious as the background, those said jihadist, ISWAP, and Boko Haram. Here is the thing, by the way, you need to know. Recently, the Boko Haram, the ISWAP, they have been killing themselves. Not recently, they've been killing themselves for years. It was the ISWAP that killed Alhaji Shekau. Remember Alhaji Shekau? Now, their own disagreement is this because it was Boko Haram at first. So Boko Haram said Western education is haram. If you are not a Muslim, you are an infidel. For you to have the right to live, you will pay akira, akia. That means you pay tax, protection tax to this caliphate, this terrorist. But they won't kill you like that. That's the idea of Boko Haram. Boko Haram now also believe that every Muslim, everyone that is a Muslim, whether for this sect or that sect, they are brothers. Everybody is one. It doesn't matter. But when they broke up into two, ISWAP camp are saying no. It is only those who believe in their own doctrine of Islam that even if you are a Muslim and you are of a different sect, different from theirs, you are not a Muslim. This disagreement is the reason why they have been killing themselves to take control of Lake Chad, which they have made their territory for so long, and part of Sambisa. Just so you know that part, okay? So now, the protection they have managed to get was that behind the scene, there were others who were pulling strings, who are, when the military needed to go and raid them, There are those who are going to make sure that they never really actually really read them. There are others that will give them information, that will give, push them in, lay ambush and kill some of these soldiers. Behind the scene, there are others who are also ensuring the supplies of weapons and the coordinates and all of that stuff to these same terrorists behind the scene. So the physical part you are seeing, including the latest one from the past 6 years, the Fulani terrorists and their own show and all that, right? So it simply means around that time, the NFIU investigation that's shown about this whole thing, they were tracing Boko Haram, not even Fulani terrorism. And in their investigation, they also discovered that there were some banks that were actually working. Again, they will say they are doing business, the real change and all of that stuff. Sure, you get. But behind the scene, they are greenlighting terror money that they all know this money going to this part is for terrorism. This one being converted into cryptocurrencies is for this and that. But rather than for them to report it, they don't have to report it because they are all compromised. Sure, you get. And also for the same other thing to actually like flag it, again, won't flag it because at the top there, they will get the green light. All of this behind the scene, while at the same time, using the scarce resources of the country in funding supposedly the same war. Do you get that now? So this information is quite interesting, but there are people that will tell you that it is not new. Of course, it may not be new, but well, this expose in itself, right, is new. So Ali Kefi, he said the efforts to derail the investigation, like these other details, okay, said the OSW had gathered extensive evidence for terrorism financing charges against 48 suspects in custody. They already have them in custody. They have everything they needed. Sure you get. However, they said they faced persistent pressure to downgrade the charges to money laundering, something he believed was designed to divert the case to the EFCC, which at the time was under the influence of Malami and shared by Abdul Rashid Bawa, Malami's relative. You following? I'm not accusing them of funding terrorism, but I'm just telling, that's why you say, Kefi is saying, I'm not accusing them of terrorism, but I'm just saying our investigation could have helped a lot if they didn't use their position to frustrate the investigation. Once they reduce terrorism to money laundering, you understand? What else? What is left? It will be EFCC. They will just look for one money and say, I could not explain for this $10 million. Hey, 6 months in prison. 6 months in prison. Then it won't even go to the prison. They will say, also the time he was detained and all of that. That's it. Boom. They go back funding terrorism. Windy City. It's actually really good to see you. I can't see you, but it's good to hear from you. The Windy City. God bless you, sir. Are you following? The reason why you need to know all of this is that every time you hear them talk about they are doing their best to stop this terrorism, every time that you have to be worried that yourself, your partner, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, your children would have to travel on these roads now. You have no idea what is lurking behind those bushes. Everybody is a fair game right now. Then you ask yourself, what exactly is the reason why we can't protect ourselves? It is not because you don't have enough personnel to face them. It is not because your military is non-existent. It is because internally there are those who have used their position to frustrate all this and ensure that those who are supposed to be standing trial, responsible for killing Nigerians, they are not. They are walking free. You are seeing them like doing alaji here and there. They are still going to their businesses. They are still funding terrorism. because some people frustrated the investigation. Here is another part. What happened to those 48 people? He said that a top prosecution lawyer assisting OSW was removed without explanation after refusing to compromise her stance that terrorism financing charges were warranted. These people were supposed to be charged for terrorism. You get me now? Not money laundering. No. This is not money laundering. In fact, we will charge them for money laundering as well. But the money they are laundering is to fund terrorism. We have evidence. Let's go on and do that. They said no. So they arrested the person doing the investigation, locked him up for 64 days. They removed the head of the legal team who put together the entire case. They removed her. So what happened next? According to him, the Attorney General of the Federation, Malami, his office, failed to obtain necessary court orders for asset forfeiture and instead applied only for detention orders. You dey follow? That is what you call compromise, sabotaging the process. And what happened when you sabotage a criminal charges or process like this? People die. You get that now? People die. People get kidnapped. Communities get ransacked, burned down. Farms get destroyed. When you use your position, you sworn by the constitution of the country to defend that constitution, which the constitution says your first job is to protect the people. Now, if these people are innocent, you don't need to stop the probe. In fact, you have to accelerate it so they will have the chance to clear themselves. And if they can't clear themselves, they go down for it. You will be saving lives. But compromised system, this is how it works. Those they give guns to, uniforms, they give them uniforms. The soldiers, the police, the DSS or whatever, all those ones who they put in the arm's way, they are already compromised. Their operation compromised because those who were supposed to be taken out are being protected by the power that be, that also gave them guns to go after the terrorists. It's crazy, right? Now, what happened next? According to him, since they didn't get the right court order, asset forfeiture, bank account closure, with every evidence they had, but only detention order, meaning let's detain them so that it won't be like we didn't do anything. Then after that, what happened? It's according to him, the presidency and powerful officials wanted to kill the investigation. Simple as ABC. Simple as ABC. They wanted the investigation killed. So after his release from detention, he said, I was told by Amantu Koribadu that Nigerian government wrote to the US to unfreeze the account. Yeah, they unfroze the account. The one they traced with $600 million plus, right? Nigeria wrote. He said, in quote, he said, let me state that in the course of the investigation, sometime in August or September 2021, Abubakar removed one of the top prosecution lawyers who was assisting the OSW to build up the case without any explanation to me. I later learned that she refused to compromise her stance, which was that we had sufficient evidence to present in court on charges of terrorism financing against all the 48 suspects that were in OSW custody. He continued, in quote, I recall that I stated in my letter of redress that pressure was being mounted on me to build a case of money laundering against the individuals and not terrorism financing. I suspected that the powers that be at the time wanted the case to be transferred to the EFCC, which is under the control of Malami. Right? So what happened next? Let's jump it. Release of the suspects when they removed their kefi, because that's what happened. He said, after his removal, detention, and compulsory retirement, OSW was effectively altered. That means the investigation stopped. He said the suspects arrested by OSW were eventually released. None of the 20 top suspects, nor others arrested, were ever charged to court. The suspects were allegedly warned not to speak to the media or take legal action over their 9-month detention. He said these details were confirmed to him by an insider. In quotes, I understand that the 20 suspects were never charged or taken to court. They were all released. I was made to understand from an insider that they, the suspect, before they were released, were warned not to go to the media or to go to the court as a result of their detention for over 9 months. NFIU was pressured to drop the accusation of terrorism financing. That's it. Meanwhile, they had another list of 400 suspects. So since they couldn't prosecute 48, right? Malami used this office. It's like consistently mentioned, okay? Buratai the butcher did the job of getting rid of him and ensuring that, you get, right? Emefiole, because of his connection with the Burundi change and all of those guys, at the time, there were particular ones that were traced back to their own round-tripping crime, which is part of what Emefiole is currently standing trial for. You know what I mean? Like, it was selling dollars to some Burundi change from northern Nigeria, right? Us these BDCs. So we're selling them dollars at the rate of 1989, 1985 exchange rates, like 50 kobo, 1 naira 50 kobo per dollar. When Nigerians were buying the dollar, or business kind of traders were buying the dollar at the rate of 400 naira to $1, 350 naira to $1. So they made a kill, which eventually killed the Central Bank of Nigeria. That Tifnumbu has now been patching and fixing figures to present as good. Right? Now, I wanted to hear something. Let me use this as a short break. Right? I've been speaking for like an hour, right? Now, the guy himself, Ali Kefi, he was recently on a program, in fact, 2 programs, okay, where he was talking about, his role at the time, and at the same time being a security expert, so to say, right? Speaking on the statement of Donald Trump and why the terrorists have become so emboldened enough that they are taunting Trump. Here you get me now. They are taunting Trump to attack or invade, blah, 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 blah. So listen to this first one.
Our Nigeria is a land of tears, of anguish, of pain, of so many broken lives. At the forefront of combating the menace of insecurity in the country is our gallant armed services, our gallant security agencies and agents, our hardworking paramilitary and other security intelligence organizations. These are at the forefront. Every Nigerian is now in the combat zone. However, as I said, these the military, the members of the armed forces, the police, and other security organizations and intelligence agencies are right at the forefront. But despite these best efforts, despite these endeavors, we still have pains. The country is bleeding.
Yeah. It's a killing field. You get what I mean? There's no country in the world that is experiencing what Nigerians are currently experiencing. It's just not getting the right attention. And when it got Trump's attention, right, it seemed like all hell let loose. And here is Ali Kefi's own view on that a few weeks back.
But again, there's another point, another aspect I want to look at it. I mean, ever since President Trump made the threat of invading the country, so to speak, of course, as a military, with my military background, I don't think the invasion is going to be American boots on the ground, but maybe targeted attacks, just like what is happening in Somalia against the Al-Shabaab, missile strikes, this thing. But ever since that happened, have you noticed the frequency of attacks? Perhaps the bandits trying to dare America. Say, okay.
It's funny you say that. I was actually thinking about that earlier today.
Yeah.
They seem to have upped their ante, have they?
Yeah, I mean, because, look, if the United States should carry out, say, missile strike against this, and this will play into the hands of those insurgents. This is what they want. They want to see the collapse of the Nigerian state. They want to humiliate the government, and the government, of course, seems not to care. And that's why they refuse to act. I mean, I keep on saying for the past 2 years, I have been calling, and a lot of other Nigerians have been calling on the government to act. But this seems, it seems, I don't know, a lethargy, kind of hesitation. I don't know.
So again, it's completely up to what Nigeria does next. Having known all of this information is still very much public. For example, right, the Sahara Reporter released, like I said, an exclusive report where about 20 people, right, have actually been listed as known, verified, formally arrested, investigated terror sponsors in Nigeria, inside Nigeria and outside Nigeria. And I remember this list first surfaced about 4 years ago, except if it has now been updated. All right, it's about 4 years ago or 5 years ago when UAE released similar list. Those who were in Nigeria through the Burundi change, those who were outside Nigeria, and what happened to them. Did you know that UAE also jailed some of these terror sponsors in UAE? Yeah, those of them that were caught there. Others who were like in they are living in UAE, but they were not in UAE when that clampdown took place. So they sent their names to Nigeria government and said, these ones, in case if you see them in Nigeria, they are part of this whole thing in your country. You know, ironically, right, you get to know that UAE, Dubai and other have been, is that Kuwait, UAE, they've been accused of also funding some other group in other African countries. But they wrote Nigeria. They said, Nigeria, these guys are terror sponsors. And we have the evidence. How did they know? Some of them were raising funds for terrorism in UAE. They lived there, acting like they were clerics, okay, sponsoring something back in Nigeria. So they were raising money. UAE discovered that most of those people raising that kind of funds, they were using that as a cover. They were actually funding terrorism. What did Nigeria do? Nothing. Well, you heard it earlier, right? So let me give you this list as they appear so that we can leave it in the diary as well. Sahara Reporters, courtesy. Okay. So you have the ones called the local suspects. The first one is Alhaji Saidu Ahmed. Alhaji Saidu Ahmed, also known as Alhaji Saidu or Alhaji Saidu Gold, born in July 6, 1961, is a Nigerian businessman residing in Zaria, Kaduna State. Identified as a key financier of Boko Haram, he is connected to multiple associates and convicts through extensive financial transactions. His accounts have recorded inflows totaling over 4.8 billion naira. With frequent cash withdrawals, he is directly linked to convicts like Surajo Abubakar Muhammad, Ibrahim Ali Azan, and Bashiru Aliyu Yusuf, as noted in United Arab Emirates court proceedings. That's one. That's one. About 20 or 21 others. Clear details. That person lives in Zaria, I believe now. His associate in UAE have been convicted for terror funding. He is still living in Zaria as a free man. Remember that. There's another one. Husseini Adamu. Husseini Adamu is said to be born on the 2nd of March 1963 in Nigeria. Husseini Adamu, also known as Baba Husseini or Husseini Adamu, spelled like Husseini, is also a businessman operating in Kano, serving as a guarantor for convicts' accounts. His BVN-linked accounts, 111 of them across 9 banks, reflect inflows and outflows exceeding 43 billion naira and 50 billion naira respectively. He has been implicated in facilitating the procurement of weapons and other logistical support for terrorist activities. Where is Alhaji Husseini Adamu? He is in Kano. Yeah, you heard it now. All those billion rands some people are paying. Some people are collecting the total, put them together, send them somewhere, and they get something back. They have names. They exist. They are not invincible. They are members of APC. Ebekebe. Go and check it. Another one. Muhammad Sani Adam. Muhammad Sani was born on the 28th of March, 1978. He is also a businessman and trader in Forex and precious stones, operating in Kano and Yola. Yeah. All those people you go and sell your chain to, or some of them you buy from, you have no idea, but already change this and that. Those things are just cover. They have offices at different airports in Nigeria. All those things, they are just cover. I bet you probably knew that anyway. So, Muhammad Sani Adamu, his own 41 BVN-linked bank accounts across 14 banks revealed inflows of 54.1 billion naira and outflows of 54.4 billion naira, primarily in transfers to and from known convicts. He is recognized as the right-hand associate of Alhaji Saidu. These are still people operating. They are not in jail, even though they have links to those who are like convicted terrorists, as they are saying now. These ones are still operating everywhere. Why is that? How is that? There was no evidence of them being cleared by any court. No. They just never get tried or arrested, ever. Okay. There is another one. Murtala Abdullahi Jega. He was born on December 1st, 1970. Murtala Jega is a known Kano-based businessman and BDC operator with 94 accounts in 9 banks. He received 60 million naira from convict Bashir Ali Yusuf and transferred funds to Live Tobacco and commodities, reportedly used in procuring weapons for terrorist activities. He also received significant sums from associates of convicted individuals, reflecting deep entanglement in illicit networks. There should be more from that if the government is actually looking. And if they have looked and cleared them, they should come out and say, oh, we've cleared all these people. They are not, and give us the evidence of their clearance. That's how you do it. That's how you kind of win the public trust. But it will surprise you that all these names, they are linked to big financiers of different organs of APC in Nigeria. It will surprise you, or maybe not too much surprise to you. There are those who are hearing all these names, and they are watching this video right now, and they are calling me possibly a liar. Shut up your mouth. You don't even know this Alhaji very well. Because the Alhaji they know is a philanthropist, is a businessman, he's got trucks, he's got shops, he's got thousands of people working for him. What do you mean by his financing terrorism? I didn't say that. This is from the report that has been submitted to government. Government of Nigeria have these details. Oh, he's a big Alhaji. He has been rich since 1980. He says he has been rich since 1971. You know what I mean? But the thinking is this. There are many, many like them in that sense. So if you now have evidence of all these activities, it is right on government to now say, you know what, we need to dig further. Guess what? This whole information is also provided by government. See? And he was also killed by government. But in the process, the terrorists keeps getting their funding, they keep getting their money, they keep getting emboldened that they are going live on TikTok, man. Nigeria. Eh? Okay. Here is another one. His name is Sadiq Garba Abubakar. Now, Sadiq Garba Abubakar was born on the 10th of May, 1980. He operates as a trader in Kano and Abuja. So with 30 accounts across 13 banks, He transferred over 1.65 billion naira to convict Suraju Abubakar Muhammad between 2015 and 2017, as well as additional funds to other convicted individuals and their associates, establishing him as a central figure in financing operations. Do you want me to remind you of something, in case if you have forgotten? When this terrorist Boko Haram kidnapped the Chibok girls, in case, just to remind you of that, right? When they kidnapped the Chibok girls, and Boko Haram came in, and he negotiated for the part release of these, school girls then, right? What some of you, I don't know if you can remember, and if maybe you've forgotten, is that there was also another part of the deal. All these convicted, these were people convicted before Boko Haram became your president. Oh. There is no any single convicted terrorist under the Boko Haram's 8 years. So these were terrorists. There were Boko Haram terrorists in Kuje, in some of these prisons by Jonathan's government. But when Boko Haram came in, including Kabiru Shokoto, he was in jail until Boko Haram came in. And they started having legal representation for him and all of that. Before you know it, Kabiru Shokoto just fizzled out. You know the rest of the story. The investigation that we are talking about sharing now predates. So what other deal do you think Boko Haram made during the release of the Chibok girls? In case if you have forgotten, it's not secret. Apart from paying them over $200 million that Boko Haram collected, Boko Haram also said, they also guaranteed the release of over 25 top Boko Haram terrorist leaders. In case if you have forgotten, yeah, just in case. They didn't just release the part of the Chibok girls. No. Boko Haram paid them and also released top Boko Haram fighters, terrorist leaders that were in detention then. They were all released as part of the deal. You can Google it in case if I just rejig your memory there. Do you get? So these ones got an automatic cover. They were never questioned, and they are linked to this major terrorist. These are not even like Fulani terrorists too, because all of these ones predate Fulani terrorism. There is no concrete investigation against Fulani terrorism in Nigeria. Do you know that? Rather, everybody in government is now on the side of the terrorist, explaining to us and the only solution to peace was for us to give the terrorists our lands. Here you get now. We should part with our lands, part with our waterways if we want peace to reign. Government is telling us for years they've been campaigning that. They have invested hundreds of billions of naira trying to build ranches for this murderous terrorist. There is no investigation against Fulani terrorism in Nigeria, ongoing or abandoned ever. This whole thing is still about the ISWAP, Boko Haram, and those who are funding them. If they begin to open book on those who are funding the Fulani terrorism, around that time, you and I will probably agree and say, Baba, you is to finish. Why can't they just break up this country and make everybody to go in separate ways? You are you to Dubai, for God's sake. Where exactly do you think you want to start from? That's why I said a serious government at this point, with all these names and all these records, will go back and get all these guys with the resources they have. They can start somewhere, which will then send messages to others who believe that they are untouchable because they are feeling untouchable. All this whole thing is just political talk. The political will to end it is not there. People's lives continue to be, the bargaining chip, unfortunately. But if they go after these no names to start with, that could be a start. There is another one called Husseini Adamu This one is different from the other Husseini Adamu. Husseini Adamu was born on the 2nd of May, 1974. He's also a Kano-based businessman. Now, I don't see Kano. So Kano businessmen have been fingered as sponsor of terrorism in Nigeria. Please write that down. All right. So he said, a business with financial links to convicts, totaling billions of naira, transferring funds among members of the network. His role has been pivotal in facilitating funds across convict circles. Another one is Mustafa Ibrahim Yakubu. He was born on the 12th of December 1966. Mustafa Yakubu is also a businessman operating between Wuse and Kano. He has 39 BVN linked bank accounts, which revealed significant transfers, including 2 billion naira to Bahafs Global and $345 million to Murtala Jega, tying him to arms and logistics operations supporting Boko Haram. Another one is Ali Abdullahi Yusuf. Ali Abdullahi Yusuf, born on the 9th of September 1982, is also a Kano-based businessman and elder brother to convicts Ibrahim Ali Al-Azan and Bashir Ali Yusuf. His 43 accounts across 11 banks show transactions with Surajo. This one is also linked to Surajo Abubakar Mohammed, a terrorist, and more than 40 associates, underscoring his involvement in the financing network. Here is another one, Nasiru Shuaibu. Now, Nasiru Shuaibu was born on the 15th of June, 1973, operates between Gusau and Mena. Gusau in Zamfara, Mena in Niger State. That's where he is based, a businessman. His 17 accounts across 10 banks recorded large inflows from convicts and other key associates, including 5.4 billion naira transferred from Muhammad Sani, highlighting significant financial facilitation. The other one is Yusuf Ghazali. Yusuf Ghazali was born on the 18th of March 1982, and he is also a forex trader in Kano with 385 bank accounts across 10 banks. He transferred funds to multiple convicts and is named in UAE court judgments as a facilitator of terrorist financing from Dubai to Nigeria. Another one is Mansour Muhammad Usman, who was born on the 22nd of April 1981. He is a textile dealer in Kano. Again, he was repeatedly identified in UAE judgment as a money transfer agent for Boko Haram, facilitating transfers of millions of naira and recruiting individuals into terrorist activities. This one's even like he's a recruiter. He maintained 18 accounts across 13 banks. Yazid Usman Muhammad, born on November 5th, 1985. Yazid Muhammad is a businessman in Kano with 5 accounts across 3 banks. Between 2015 and 2018, he received 830,000 naira, 950 naira from Mansour Usman Muhammad, and is mentioned in UAE court judgment as a money transfer agent supporting terrorist financing. You also have Alhaji Musa Emma. Musa Emma, born on the 1st of February 1962, he operates from Maiduguri with 15 accounts across 8 banks. So his accounts recorded consistent cash withdrawal exceeding 2.4 billion naira, with large inflows from convicts and their networks, suggesting a central role in money laundering and terrorist financing. Another one is Modu Sulu. The list goes on and on, right? With these details. So Sulu was born on the 7th of September 1972 in Maiduguri, Borno State. Now, Modu Sulu maintains a single BVN linked account. He has financial links with Musa Emma and other suspects in Maiduguri, an epicenter of the group's operations, indicating involvement in coordinated financial activities. Another one is Adamu Aliyu Kanoma, a jewelry dealer. A jewelry dealer born on the 1st of January 1979 in Gusau, Zamfara State. Adamu Aliyu Kanoma holds 83 bank accounts in across 11 banks. He executed cumulative cash withdrawal over 10 billion naira between 2016 and 2020. Received funds from Bashir Ali, Yusuf, and other associates, and transacted with over 22 associates of the convicts and Alhaji Saidu. Receive fund that you are hearing, now ransom money. That's the receive fund you are reading there, right? Here is another one. Abibu Muhammad Usama. Now, Abibu Usama Muhammad, he was born on the 7th of June, 1978. He's also a businessman in Gusau, Zamfara, with a 39 bank account across 12 banks. Now, they said he received 65 million naira from convicts, transferred 3 million naira to Alhaji Saidu, and conducted cash withdrawals exceeding 7 billion naira, indicating significant involvement in terrorist financial networks. You know, their own argument is that, what do you expect Buhari to do? Is that not that they are dealing with money? Is that not that if you go there and you say you need $1 million cash, you will need Guinea corn? What do you expect to do? Well, that is in itself is called a cover. You going there to go and spend or ask them to sell you $1,000, or better still, ask them to change $100,000 to naira for you. You are the legit one. Behind the scene, that your $100,000 will eventually be used, and when they list other 100,000, 70,000, 40,000, 30,000, 20,000, 50, they can then list almost over $1 million behind your own legitimate one. So behind that is called terror funding. All right. So if you are not that smart to understand that money laundering is a two-way thing before terrorist funding joins, right? So money laundering is when you see those who are trying to hide money that they don't want anybody to tax. So if you don't want government to tax this money, then you probably will use another means to taking it out. So how do you do it? You put it through a system. For example, you have, let's say I have a taxi company, and normally my taxis, I have, let's say, 50 taxis. Now, 50 taxis, everybody knows that I'm a taxi company. So which means I get money, legitimate money, as we are calling to fund. But that taxi company may not be making profits. Like, for example, traffic and the rest of that, which ordinarily would have made me profitable, but it's not coming. But everybody knows that I've got a taxi company. So if you now see drug dealers, you know, terrorists who needed their money to go through system and bank, they can send me money that I would then have to prepare a paper, sort of like a financial statement that will make every money coming from me. So when I take this money to the bank, I am a taxi company owner. So everybody knows I have a lot of taxis. I make money. It depends on, so if I enter the bank, every day I say, oh, you know what? My taxi company made $60,000 this week. Meanwhile, the taxi company may not make up to $3,000. But because they know that I've got a lot of taxes and I can, you know what I mean? The bank will take the 60,000 from me. So by so doing, I have cleaned the money for the terrorists, cleaned the money for those who stole the money from government. So by the time I'm going to get them their money back, I could say they are supplying me parts, car parts, insurance, this. I could put up anything. That money will then go back to them. So that is why when terrorists want to collect their money and you say, okay, I'm just clearing this money so I could spend the money and say, oh, Maiyegun second company paid me because I was working, you know what I mean? So, but for terrorists, it allows those who are going to supply them weapons and all of that to receive the money without anybody flagging it, because it's going to be a clean money that somebody is just making a purchase. They're buying cars, meanwhile they are buying guns. We are buying some set of skins, meanwhile they are buying bombs. So all that cover is what the normal government investigation will unravel. That is when you are going to see somebody who is a big rice dealer. They arrested him for terrorism. Here you get, oh, a very massive transporter is a rich man. They arrested him for armed robbery. Then you'll be like, how can he be an armed robber? They say, no, he's a financier. So all the money they steal when they kill people or rob banks, they bring them to him. And that money goes straight into his business to look like legit. Then after that, he pays those people who work for him. Now, we have arrested those who work for him. They have told us that he's the one who supplies their weapons and all that. That's why we have arrested him. You will now be wondering, man, this life, oh, hey. So that man, a very bad man. And many of them were never found out. Why? Not because they are smart. Maybe they are. It's because the system is so compromised, so bad, so dirty, that they could get away with it because somebody somewhere who should ensure due process is done will use his position to make sure that due process is never done. And once it's not done, you will never see them behind the bars. You will never get to the end of this. Let me drink water. I told you that it's going to be about talk. Because that's what makes it interesting. Not just reading it to you like that, all right? Now, if you are still with me, take your time, all right? Take a moment, rather. Like the broadcast, okay? Let me share it. Subscribe to Maiyegun's Diary Politico as well. It can be very interesting, and honestly, like, if you don't mind my voice, I wish I could get some voice toner so that my voice can be soothing when you listen in a way that you can still feel relaxed, not agitated or apprehensive. But yeah, it can be very interesting like that. Now, going forward, there are still more. I just did all of that as a means of like explaining how some of these things work. And there are those who are trained with sharp eagle eyes to see all these things. But they can never do their job if those above them will continue to put a ceiling over them. You get what I mean? Now, like I said, there is more. They have Nuruddin Ganiyu. Okay. Now, Nuruddin Ganiyu, Nura Gani Aliyu, rather. So they call him. Is also known as Alhaji Nura. He was born on the 31st of December 1967. Nuruddin Ganiyu Aliyu operates as a businessman and a BDC operator in Sokoto. He has 218 bank accounts across 10 banks, facilitated, by the way, large transfers to leaf tobacco and commodities. Now, you hear that name. It is featured again on leaf tobacco and commodities. You would think they are selling tobacco, but they are actually procuring firearms for terrorists. Sure you get? And other entities, establishing him as a major financier of Boko Haram activities in Nigeria. You have another one called Ladan Ibrahim. He was born on the 7th of March, 1968. Ladan Ibrahim is a public servant. This one is a public servant too. And the chairman of the Sokoto Pilgrims Welfare Agency. Are you with me? The chairman of Sokoto Pilgrims Welfare Agency. Those on where they send them to Mecca. You get? Now, he has 47 bank accounts across 5 banks, transferred significant sums to Alhaji Nura Ganiyu Aliyu, and affiliated entities, linking public funds to terrorist financing channels. The last one, at this point, not the last one, because there's still more. These ones are the local ones in Nigeria. So you have Sadiq Garba Abubakar. Now, Sadiq Garba Abubakar, they said that one again, what linked him to it is that he's got multiple transactions with the convicted and escaped terrorists as well. Did they feel me? So they said, the international suspect, you want me to say them? You want me to list them? Do you want me to list them? Because, it is easier for those who are pretty much seated and watching than those who might just go online and just read it like that, right? But for the record, let's mention few of their international collaborators and where they are. Here is one. His name is Tribat Rujugiro Ayabatwa. Let me take that again. Tribat Rujugiro Ayabatwa. He was born on the 1st of March, 1940 in Rwanda. Ayabatwa died last year, by the way, in April last year. So he was a businessman and a tobacco dealer with residencies in Nigeria and South Africa. Let me take it a bit further. Remember that tobacco company, tobacco and industries, Leaf Tobacco. Okay. So he said he had 70 bank accounts across 13 banks in Nigeria, which shows inflows of 67 billion naira and outflows of 34 billion naira. He received funds from Alhaji Nura Gani and facilitated offshore transfers to South Africa linked to the convicts' financial networks. Kingsley, thank you. That's actually really, very kind of you. So Kingsley got me my first coffee. Let me put it out. Sorry, one sec. Right. Are you with me? Right. That one is a Rwandan, no, not even Nigerian. But he's used his own international this and that to help them transfer money. And he operated over, like 70 bank accounts that were linked to all of this. Right? And 67 billion naira to one person for Boko Haram deals alone. No. Anyway, there's another one. Paul Unkwaya, who is also a Rwandan businessman born on the 7th of August, 1967. Is the son of the late Ayabatwa. Now father and son, they operate now, right? So Paul Unkwaya is a son to Tribat Rujugiro Ayabatwa, who is dead. So they said they co-owned Leaf Tobacco and Commodities. The one that got mentioned severally, both in Nigeria investigation and UAE court judgment. So Paul Unkwaya, a Rwandan, who is the co-owner of Leaf Tobacco and Commodities with his father, they said he shared the same 70 BVN linked bank accounts and was involved in receiving and transferring funds connected to convicts and terrorist financing operations. There is another one. Abubakar Hima. Now, he was born on the 18th of March, 1973 in Niger. Hima, also known as Petit, was identified by the investigating Nigerian authorities as an arms dealer operating in Abuja. Yeah, an arms dealer operating in Abuja, who was from Niger. So they said he has 35 bank accounts across 2 Nigerian banks, facilitated transfers exceeding $1.19 million from the UAE to convicts associates. He is under investigation for criminal conspiracy, money laundering, and fraud involving hundreds of millions in multiple currencies. He is an international criminal who has been linked. So they said the financial trails cross-border transactions and repeated mentions in UAE court judgments indicate a coordinated effort to fund and support terrorist operations, warranting further monitoring and their prosecution. This was for the last guy, right? Now let's go back to Nigeria. Okay, all these informations. What do we do with all these informations now? But what do we do with all this information? Well, the former CDS, Christopher Musa, who happened to be the former chief of defense staff, has been reappointed as the Minister of Defense. It was reported that the former Minister of Defense, Badaru Muhammad, right, was part of the the collateral damage as conditions of how do you even do it? Your president is Muslim. Your vice president is Muslim. Your chief of army staff or this and that, they are Muslims. So how do you go into a room that your 2 ministers are also Muslims? No, that's not how they put it. No, that's not how they put it. Let me take that again. It was said, not confirmed, okay? It was said that one of the things that Exet and Marco Rubio, did throughout Referendum in Washington was that, how do you do it? Your president is Muslim, your vice president is Muslim, your two ministers are Muslims, and the Kinikoshe you get like, and you are on a Muslim government. And we are here to talk about the Christian genocide. How do you want us to take you serious? So when Referendum returned, like I said, this is unconfirmed though, so it may just be SC and all that, it doesn't matter. But when they got back, they was like, Badaru could be, could be the collateral damage. And therefore, they appointed the former CDS, who in itself was said to have been prematurely retired. Others have said that right now he is in a better position to actually go after the terrorists and do it very well, because he can have access to all the normal information. I believe he never had access to them. And also right now, he will be able to actually put together his own team, blah, 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 within the army. People are trying to. And he himself, Musa, said during his own verification and confirmation, he said on social media, a lot of you shared his appointment as minister, which means you have a lot of expectations of him, and he planned not to disappoint you. So yeah, after hearing all of this, what is next? Well, it should be for the person that is currently being the star boy. I'll tell you something about that though, right? It's the star boy that if Nubu and his gang want to use as to publish, to polish their dented, destroyed international image. Are you with me? And he's somebody that they want to use, but didn't know that they want to use him. He's currently promising us a lot. Like those of you online, scrutinizing everything they are doing, right? Here.
Them to go down. But on expectations, so I can tell you, I'm also feeling the heat, because when I see the expectations, when my name was mentioned, I know that I cannot afford to fail myself, fail my nation, fail my family. Whatever that we need to do, we will put in the very best, and we know God on our side, we're going to succeed. So it's important, sir, that we must continue to work together. And I assure Nigerians, I really appreciate the responses to the Senate, National Assembly as a whole, the entire Nigerians. I went to social media, I was shocked when I saw the response. And it shows that people are really committed in showing that Nigeria is peaceful. So when people go around saying Nigerians, we don't love ourselves, I say, no, they don't really know who Nigerians are. And it also brings me to the issue that we have on the issue of whether genocide or no genocide. We're all victims. Everybody is being killed.
Mr. Musa, you are surprised that Nigerians they all welcome you. They are so happy with your appointment. You will be surprised. Okay, Otoma was surprised very soon when Nigerians will begin to call for your head. Some people are saying that from the moment he takes office, those who want to derail him, those who are going to ensure that they sabotage him as well, and soon he will start sounding like the rest of them. Not like the way he's currently being enthusiastic and all of that, right? Not anymore. So they said those who want to do all of that to him, the same day he resumed, they have started the activation of his own destruction. But for now, it's great. He's a Christian retired soldier from southern Kaduna, and he's got the experience. People love him, which means, yeah, he's a good one now that you can't say Muslims are killing, terrorists are killing Christians only. Sure, you get, they want to use him as the face. And it's not in my own place to possibly protect him. The only person to protect him is the person who appointed him, Tinubu. So if there are wolves who are going to ensure that he failed, that won't be because of me or you. That won't be because you don't know how to pray. It won't be because you never really believe. No, forget it. Don't let anybody gaslight you. The only person that can make him succeed is Tinubu. You understand? Right. He took office yesterday, again, with all the paparazzi, you know what I mean? I'll show you. Yeah, watch this. Musa.
General Musa has of course defense studies in China. General Musa has gone through combined land component of Commanders and Headquarters is 1 Division, Commanding Officer 73 Battalion, Assistant Director Operational Department. He was also the infantry representative on the training team. On this note, I will ask the Minister of Defense designate to please step forward to take this call.
I, Christopher Musa, retired OFR, solemnly swear that I will faithfully and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and that I will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So help me God. Oath of office are: do solemnly swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that as Minister of the Government of the Federation, I will discharge my duties to the best of my ability, faithfully and in accordance with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and the law, and always in the interest of sovereignty, integrity, solidarity, well-being of Nigeria. That I will strive to preserve the fundamental objective and directive principles of state policy contained in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That I will not allow my personal interest to influence my official conduct or my official decisions. That I will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That I will abide by the Code of Conduct contained in the 5th Schedule to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That in all circumstances, I will do right to all manner of people according to the law, without fear or favor. I directly or indirectly communicate or reveal to any person any matter which shall be brought under my consideration, or shall become known to me as Minister of the Government of the Federal Federation, except as member as Minister. So help me God. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Congratulations.
We are back again.
Honorable Minister, General, and now Honorable Minister. Congratulations from all of us.
Congratulations, Madam, as well.
You are back to a very familiar terrain, and Nigerians are expecting a lot, apart from Mr. President. Yeah, so what will be your immediate priorities from now?
My immediate priority is to make sure that defense takes its place fully in the country. The synergy between the armed forces, and other security agencies, and all Nigerians being carried along, as we have always said, that security is everybody's responsibility. It is that synergy that we need to build on and work on it, and that's what we're going through. And I can assure you, within the shortest possible time, Nigerians will see results. I want to use this medium to appreciate all Nigerians. Nigerians have shown me love, and I will guarantee them that I am going to work whatever it takes to ensure that Nigeria is secured, working together.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
New charge from the president you just met with?
Yes, I just met Mr. President, and he reiterated his mind on the aspect that we must make sure that Nigeria is secured. Nigerians should go back and sleep with their eyes closed, go back to their farms, schools open without being molested, everyone being carried together to make sure that Nigeria continues to grow in line with the renewed program of the Mr. President. We do not have time. We are going to continue to hit the ground running. We must respect the human rights of Nigerians. Our loyalty is to Nigeria and the Nigerian people. Shedding of innocent blood is over. Our children should be able to go back to school. Our farmers should be able to go back to their farms. We must address these issues on ground. And with the support and prayers we're getting from all Nigerians, we cannot fail.
But I want to assure the minister that collectively we're going to support this cause and make Nigerians believe more in us. And I believe going forward, Nigeria will be better. We stand ready to work diligently under your guidance, upholding the highest standard of professionalism, integrity, discipline, and accountability.
General Musa pledges an inclusive leadership approach anchored.
So Musa is doing what is expected by reassuring the people. Normally, the person that should be reassuring you should be the president. It should be on your screen almost every day. Yeah, you'll be seeing all these actions, these appointments and all of that, but it should be the one on the screen assuring you that I'm on top of the situation. The media asking him questions, he's answering them, and like that, people will begin to believe that, okay, and it's not just with what they are saying to you, it is what they mean by what they are saying to you. Sure, you get now. There's so much words all over the place. Everybody's got these different views, this and that, and expectations. And every now and then when these expectations are built up, for example, in 2014, 2015, when Nigerians first experienced this massive form of terrorism, enough that a lot of people actually felt like there was no government at the time, not knowing that what they are still going to witness will be worse than that shock of 2015. APC, Egbekegbe took advantage of that. They campaigned for change from this situation where people can't go to their farms, people can't live peacefully in their own homes, and they are now more or less like living in the refugee camps. Millions of them will stop, but it didn't stop. So that expectation died over time. And rather than for people to get a bit of a break, the Fulani terrorism joined. And other terrorism, which are mostly sponsored as well by those in government, unfortunately. So people never really had a break since then. Then there are people, I believe, who believed that the terrorism in Nigeria at that point actually like persisted simply because those in government never had the intention of doing anything about it. Then others were like, oh, it's because Boko Haram was a Muslim and Boko Haram was also a northerner. He's also a Fulani, so he's protecting his own people. Once another person comes in, their holiday will be over, their vacation will be over. All of their honeymoon will be over. There will be no more special protection for them. But shockingly, even those of you who supported Tifnumbu, you are probably surprised right now with the way the whole thing is going. Right now, instead of them to deal with it, they're actually convincing you that some people are intentionally trying to destroy Tinubu's government. Who is to help Tinubu in this situation other than Tinubu himself? How can you be obnobbing with the known terror sympathizers? You appointed some of them into your government. They are still accessing what should have been an intel, security for national security intel. They are still accessing them. And at the same time, you are telling people that things will get better. You are doing your best. And that is, that same breath, more and more people are dying. So rather than face the truth, the reality, like Boko Haram's time, that expectation is dying if it's not dead already. For those of you who had the expectation, I never had I didn't have any. But I'm just saying to those of you who had it, especially some of you Ronuku is watching right now, Ronu Nazis or Ronu Bastard watching, you get what I mean now? Some of you probably felt like, you know what I mean, it's going to be a different ball game. Now take another instance. Tinubu want to reform economy. Tinubu want to build economy that would, how do you build an economy that actually serves millions of people when in that same breath, terrorists are having field day in your country? More and more of your people are falling victims of kidnapping, paying ransom, some are being killed. Your farmers can't go to farm. People can't travel safely without having to have their breath right here on your roads. Traders are being attacked on the road. Things like that will automatically ruin whatever reform you think you are doing, because you know what? You are ignoring the obvious thing, which makes people poorer, destroying what they had. What they already have, right? That terrorism enablement, or this one's, they are indeed helping to destroy the same economy you are struggling to explain to people that you are doing. It's never going to work that way. So except you tackle the real problem, every other problem will become like insurmountable. Here is somebody who was also at the scene. Meanwhile, a quick one. Okay, so on Maiyegun's diary Politico, right? We can take advantage. If you want to take advantage of the audience and all of that, where you think you have something, they might be interested in. For example, our own princess, princess now. Our own princess is also very much, an oil mogul. I call her, oil woman. So she currently have this, let me put that on the screen, by the way, 1 sec. So if you are into, oil and gas that you needed in like mass bulk purchases and all of that with all the, guaranteed bill of lading and every other documentation that, guarantees your supply from the point of sale to point of delivery, you can reach out and call that number. Princess is known to all of us. Here you get. You can make your inquiries, serious inquiries only. It is a paid advert. And like that, you can reach out. Okay. And I told her that once she makes it in the oil industry, right, it will make the effort of the Yoruba Union, which is, she is a very prominent member, will have enough money to probably support the social work we are doing in Yoruba land as well. So please help me patronize her. All right. She's got a name. She's got a reputation. Something there bigger than money. Go on. Now, Kuka also attended the swearing in of Musa. Something a lot of people are questioning, that what was his role there and all that. Again, like I said, Musa is being packaged as a face of fighting the terrorism. It's more or less like trying to have somebody that you're going to eventually use as sacrificial lamb. A lot of you will no longer be calling Tifnumbu soon. You'll be calling Musa. Here you get. Those of you who are like, yes, we believe that now it should be different, right? A lot of you may likely be disappointed. Not because General Musa probably doesn't wish to do the right thing, but the right thing being done the wrong way, we stand up as like doing the wrong thing, in my own opinion. But yeah, Kuka was present to push that, you know what, the Christians are okay. In fact, look at this new appointment. Look at the enthusiasm of the people. People loved him. You know what I mean? We should have the Christians feel calm. Help is on the way. All these things will be history soon, making Musa the one responsible for protecting all of us, not Tifnumbu. You get that now? Watch this.
First of all, I'm wearing 2 caps. I'm representing the Sultan of Sokoto. We were at a meeting because he was born in Sokoto, and I'm in Sokoto, and he's from Southern Kaduna, and I was born in Southern Kaduna. So the Sultan knows I'm here, and it brings his greetings. But look, I mean, everybody knows what the problem is. We just need restoration of normalcy in this country by any means possible. And I think that this job is in very good hands. It does seem very clearly that the president wants to reposition the issues of security, and I think the situation is in very good hands. I miss that, but we are on all fours as far as that is concerned. Look, rain, thunder, sunshine, whatever it takes to get this mess under control. These guys need to be flushed out. Normalcy needs to return to our country. Laughter and joy has to come back to Nigeria within the shortest time possible. All we do is to pray for the best. First of all, I'm here.
Do you get it now? It is called packaging, social conditioning, psychological conditioning. So you have seen Christopher Musa. He's from Southern Kaduna. He's a Christian. He's a retired general, former CDS. He's got a very impeccable profile, and he's also a Christian. So are you going to say somebody who is the Minister of Defense, who is a Christian, is sitting back and watch the Christians killed? No, that doesn't make any sense. Do you know that Tinubu had to appoint a Christian general, this and that? So at the end of the day, like I said, you all be calling Musa, not Tinubu. Remember when Badaru got overshadowed somehow got shadowed somehow by Batawale, the terrorist, sympathizer himself. So Musa is now expected to now be the face of it. But would it be bold or clear enough to at least stop the amnesty for terrorists? Stop these public peace meetings that are so disgraceful and embarrassing? Maybe we can start from there, and Oshiomole agrees with me.
We have seen in the distant past where terrorists apprehended who have killed, maimed, and committed heinous crimes were in the name of de-radicalization. They were arrested, quote and unquote, de-radicalized, retrained, fed with taxpayers' money, and as we know now, some of these guys went back to continue with the acts of terrorism. So my understanding of this reinforcement of the Terrorism Act by including kidnapping is that such discretion will not be available to anyone, whether in the armed forces or even in the executive. Because we can't spend so much money, expend so much energy to apprehend very dangerous people who have killed, maimed, buried children alive, and in the air where they are apprehended, somebody come from somewhere and say, look, we need to use all sorts of jargons to justify why these guys should not face the wrath of the law, which is to face trial and if convicted, sentenced to death. Until people begin to see those who have killed. Even in the Bible and the Holy Quran, he who kills has no right to life. And so I believe that by re-emphasizing this law in the manner that the leader of the Senate has very ably articulated all the elements of the law, that the message should be clear. Those discretions are withdrawn. No more de-radicalization. If you are caught after committing heinous crimes, the penalty is death if convicted. Thank you, Mr. President, and I want to thank the Senate leader for, very articulate presentation of what I believe is our collective feelings with regards to this issue of kidnapping and terrorism. Thank you, Mr. President.
In the course of the public of the kidnappers and the appropriate punishment to be given to them. And then we will also...
An informant.
Okay, Senator Wama could say something.
I represent Abia North. Mr. President and distinguished colleagues, I'm not sure that this bill brought by the leader of the Senate was a bill agreed by all of us. All 109 senators agreed in a closed session that we must get this bill across and sent to Mr. President. Mr. President, I believe it's a high time. There's no town and villages that there are no kidnappers in Nigeria. So I believe this bill is apt, is a natural thing to do, and we will go as
we have seen in the...
Let's start with that. And eventually, by the way, they ended up codifying, not yet, but the bill to make kidnappings and all of that as an act of terrorism, and also should carry death sentence. That has now passed the second reading, meaning if it becomes the law, Tinubu should sign it immediately. These are the moves that you want to see, not just what they say, just what they do, And they shouldn't be wasting their time chasing on those who are pointing all of this out. Because all of us, by the way, want a peaceful place. And say if you have a peaceful country, you have a peaceful community, or is it that if you have peaceful communities, you have a peaceful nation? Nigeria is not a nation; it is an amalgamation of nations that form the supposed Nigeria, forceful one, by the way, right? So, Omoyele Sowore, right, attended the program where the Sultan of Sokoto was also in attendance. And in his own speech, more or less like an advice, with the situation going on in the country, people have every right to be agitated. People have every right to express their own displeasures and all that. And the government also should be tolerant enough to listen to them. Like, that shouldn't be a biggie. Arresting citizens because they are expressing themselves will eventually radicalize them and turn them to dissent. And the dissent are those who they call the rebels, rebels, rebellious, revolution. So Omoyele Sowore, who was in attendance, was like a point study where the Sultan of Sokoto called him Mr. President with a small letter P. And that Tinubu is the one with the capital letter P as your president. However, they should tolerate, people speaking their mind. Instead of hunting them down every now and then, like they have been doing to Omoyele Sowore. It was kind of like a blob, right? But listen.
So I want to thank the EDC, and I urge you, don't look back. You have criticisms, you have critics, let them talk. But listen, those you bring close to you, like President Sowore, bring him close. When I say president, president with small p, not capital P. It's only President Tinubu has capital P. So President Sowore, come close, say your own mind. There's nothing wrong in you saying your mind. Because the more you allow somebody to bring out what is in chest, the better for you and him. The moment you turn down somebody and try him, and then you allow him to go haywire. I think it's very important. So when I was coming in, I met President Sowore there. I was very surprised to see him. But I'm also very happy to see him because we'll hear from him what are the issues that he thinks the government should do or must do for him to be a happier person. Because when he's happy, the people that follow him, that respect him, that believe in him, will also be happy. And that's life. But the more you tie somebody down, tie his neck, twist him, and he can't talk, he'll be saying, You don't know what he wants to say. But let him open his mouth and say what he wants to say. So, President Sowore, I invite you to feel free, come to me as you used to. We met a couple of times at the peace committee meetings when you were gunning for presidency. Maybe one day you'll be at this Aso Villa as president. You didn't say amen. So want to.
It's a crazy thing. And that's not too much to ask. It simply means the elite themselves actually knows the people they have now called the troublemakers. Right? We have also received a report that rather than an hostile, hostile treatment against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, they've turned the Sokoto prison to a small place where they go for a place where they go to pilgrimage right now. A lot of people are now paying pilgrimage visits to this, not just the prison, even to the town. And guess what? The Sokoto state government, where this Sultan of Sokoto also lives, right? They have been very much like hospitable. The irony. Are you with me? So the elite knows what is going on. And most of the time, they just have to pretend that they don't. However, they are also worried that if the Kasala bursts one day, someday, nobody is going to actually really have the chance to wield around their power, the influence, and not the money. But Sowore, well, they can't have Sowore with in their midst. It is always like a mismatch. It won't really happen. But yeah, that happened. The conversation. And this conversation also happened. A brother who said it was just like a passerby, like a spectator, suddenly got grabbed and arrested, and he was accused of being a madman. Now, I have a question for you, 2 questions actually. My 2 hours is complete, but I feel like I could still actually tell or share more all the other stuff I have here, including what is going on in River State and a few other places. Do you think we should call it a night, or we should just keep the roll? I know a lot of people say we should keep the roll, but it's good to ask. What do you think? Call it a night or keep the roll? Because I have the second question. Yeah? Right. We should continue. Okay, let's continue. Normally people will say, let's take calls. I know, I would love to take calls, but I'm not going to be here tomorrow, so you're going to be watching replay tomorrow. Yeah, I'm going to be busy having this family day out and all that stuff. Sure you get. Yeah. So I won't see you again until Sunday. So let me quickly just finish. Yeah. Now my second question. Tell me, I know you can't tell me, but some of you will still manage to put it in the comment, okay? Tell me, if for any reason you are standing by or standing at the bus stop waiting for your boss to come, and then the next bus that comes or that came is the one where you just get dragged, and you are dragged like more or less like arrested. You get dragged into the van. And while you got into the van, you realized that there were other occupants. But these are not just normal occupants. What's going on here? Then you figure out that they're actually mad people. Now you tell me, in that kind of circumstance, what would be your way of getting yourself out of that situation? Because Nigeria has a problem, but you know something? I have tried to devise few means. But I realized that I was doing so simply because of where I live. But I have I've seen probably movies where people have been wrongly, picked up by the roadside, and they are sent straight to the psychiatric home, So you tell me, there you are, just standing by the roadside, and then you got dragged into a car, and there were mad people. How do you think is the best way to explain yourself out and say, I'm not mad. I'm not a mad person? How? I keep asking myself this question. Some said the way you dress is the way you are going to be addressed, which in itself is also complicated. In Nigeria today, if you are a young man, especially that drives nice car, keeps on, clean shave, dresses nice and smells good, the Nigerian police can target you and call you a fraudster, Yahoo boy. And we all know how that goes. So some people started probably dressing down. Now people are saying if you dress down and you get picked up as a madman, how can you explain yourself in 5 sentences or maybe 3 sentences? Tell me, are you going to be gentle and say, no, see, excuse me, can I explain something to you, sir? I am not a madman. I can prove it to you. I was coming from my house. I live in number so and so. And then I came, do you think you'll be believed? And what do you think you can do to get out of that situation? Because this brother might need that advice. If he's got the opportunity of watching this, I shared this earlier on Maiyegun's diary Politico. This young man got raided, and there he was explaining to those who arrested him that he's not a madman. No, I'm not mad. I'm explaining this or that, but nobody believed him.
sì gbé wa láti ojú ọ̀lù yẹn wọ́n gbé wa lọ sí iwájú ilé ìjọba báyìí wọ́n dúró sínú.
bàbá náà tó sọ̀rọ̀ ó láwọn wèrè iṣẹ́ ni oníṣẹ́ wọn ti kó wa jáde.
àní wọ́n mú ìjọba sẹ́yìn.
sorry if you don't understand Yoruba. That's why I made that earlier explanation. That if you find yourself in that situation, and there you are, how do you really explain to them that I'm not mad? Are you going to fight them and run away? But do you know something? In my own opinion, it is ideal to actually fight them and run away. Because there is no way you can really, if you fight them, if you argue with them, right, they will say you have an aggressive madness. If you are gentle, explain to them and all of that, even if you have to speak in English as well, they'll say, now book made this one mad. He's a very gentle person. If not because of his madness, it's probably like, he would have been a professor, he would have been a lecturer, probably would have been a pilot. They changed this test. In Nigeria, where superstition pretty much covers most people who are even like professionals. Professionals will be telling you and say, I saw one lady, she's so pretty. She's so beautiful. But they don't run her mad, she don't mad. That's somebody who is probably a doctor. Maybe a psychiatrist will say that, I'm just saying. So how do you explain it? Like me now, they can't arrest me. Maybe around the time we say, I never barb, I never shave. And I'm like, listen, I live in Scotland. I can show you if you allow me. I was just waiting for my driver to come and pick me because my car had problem. So that's why I was waiting. And these guys just grabbed me. Say, where are your shoes? So it was when they are dragging me now. That's when, my shoes, all of them fell off and all of that. They say, is that also why you have this torn trouser? I say, yes. When they are dragging me, they say, okay, where are you from? For somebody like me, and I'm like, me. People know me as a Maiyegun general, but my name is this and that. I live in Glasgow. I live in Glasgow, Scotland. Say, what deport especially if these guys who catches me are Yorubas, they will just look at themselves and say, what deport boy? The moment they deported him, like he just ran mad. Like, I know their type. He believes that he's still in Scotland, but he didn't know that he's already Shoko. He's not living in Scotland again. They say, if it be like the batch, we then decamp to Ghana. Those ones we then decamp, we Donald Trump decamp to Ghana. God damn it. So you have only aspirin stain. That one go just knock you out. By the time about my chicken or like you don't need to hallucinate. They say, no, bro, this is Oshodi. This is not Scotland, okay? Scotland is in England. I say, yes, that's what I'm saying. I was working for, God damn it. Very young man. They just destroy his life. It's a very strong madman. Like they say, this one has strong F1 1500 mg milligram. His zone is above this one. Those ones we then deport, where they can't run mad. It is difficult. We have to cancel that Scotland from his head. He needs to stop thinking about any Scotland or any England or anything. So I will become somebody he will know that he's in Nigeria. It's crazy. I have to use that just to give you a bit of a relief because, we've all glued to the edges of our own couches. A lot of people have been having a lot of, things running through their minds based on what we have actually shared so far. So I'm glad that some of you could actually put up the laugh emoji and laugh. Enough. So you can do me the other favor, like the broadcast, and let's continue. Okay, this time to Rivers State, because it's part of what we were supposed to talk about. Okay, so earlier this morning, right, the supposed speaker of Rivers State House of Assembly, Martin Amawule, the Werewike said, man, now this should be the genesis, right? A few days ago, the Turaki, the new PDP chairman, who somehow, I don't know how they did it all. It's like they have been recognized by INECO. And right now, all the actions of expelling Werewike and all of that seems to probably could be the Achilles heel that we eventually see the doom of Werewike, where some people are beginning to speculate that the move that happened in Rivers State today, River State House of Assembly today was like an impromptu move to see if they can do a checker, like a checkmate somehow. Like, let's just go to APC and declare it that way before Fubara will kind of take the shine off it, and it will be more or less like, okay, yeah, where the weakest men are already on ground for his own official, probably joining them, or better still, to continue to fight PDP in court. Here is the genesis. Then I'll come back.
Distinguished members of the press, as I'm talking to you, these certificates have been dispatched via courier to go to the 11 persons that have been expelled. This is a certificate of expulsion of His Excellency Nyesom Wike. A copy, original copy, via courier. This is the certificate of Ayodele Fayoshe, His Excellency. It has been sent to him also through courier. This is a proof that he has been expelled from PDP. Certificate of Distinguished Senator Samuel Anyang. It has been sent to him via courier. Next is the certificate of expulsion of Umaru Bature, Honorable Umaru Bature. It has also been sent to him via courier. Next is the certificate of Kamaluddin Adeyemi Ajibade, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. It has also been sent to him through courier. Next is that of Abdurrahman Mohammed. It has also been sent to him via courier. It's for Mao, Senator Mao Wahabonwa. It has also been sent to him via courier services. The next one is for Mr. Austin Mwachuku. Certificate of expulsion has also been sent to him via courier. The next one is that of Abraham. It has been sent to him via courier. George Turner. This certificate, as I'm talking to you, has been sent to him also via courier services. I'm sure some of them have already received it. Last but not the least is that of Chief Dan Obi. It has been sent to him through courier. We have done this for Nigerians, particularly critical institutions that are involved in managing the affairs of political parties, especially INEC, and that have been managing the affairs of main security affairs in the society, most especially Nigeria Police, Department of Security Services, Nigeria Civil Defense, and other agencies of government, to know that these people are no longer members of our party. They have been expelled, they remain expelled. We have now certified their expulsion, and this certificate has been sent to them. Very soon, members of the society will be informed via proper disclaimers that any person henceforth who decide to do business with them, all of them, or some of them, or any one of them, do so at his or her or their risk. They are no longer members of the People's Democratic Party. They have been expelled. You today are living witnesses of their certificate of expulsion. So we hope that members of PDP in Nigeria and diaspora will know that PDP has once again gotten rid that have been afflicting and creating problems for us in our activities. We are now prepared to be saddled with the responsibility of performing our functions as the leading opposition party in Nigeria. We are going to provide.
The more you look, the less you see. The more you look, the less you see. The more you look, the less you see.
The more you look, the less you see. Werewike responded and said, no, he's joking. I am still a member of PDP. He's not going anywhere. Meanwhile, his own political base is divided now, or maybe that is also a plan. The Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Martin Amewule, announced to the members of, or to the public today, that henceforth or from now on, it will be identifying as a member of APC. And there are 16 of them. So what happened to the rest? Well, they currently said that about 10 or 11 PDP members who are still members of the House have now nominated somebody as their own minority leader by becoming the opposition. So Amawule this morning, and this clip, by the way, let's start with this.
By way of announcement, I'd like to inform the House that I have been informed by 16 members of the Rivers State House of Assembly of their decision to leave the People's Democratic Party and move to the All Progressive Congress. All 16 members, including the Speaker, have so decided to leave the People's Democratic Party for the All Progressive Congress. Distinguished colleagues, it's important I also allow all the members who have so communicated to me to also reaffirm by addressing the House on this particular item. But before I give them the opportunity to speak, distinguished colleagues, let me say that the reason for leaving the People's Democratic Party is because of the clear division in the People's Democratic Party today. The whole world is aware that as of today, even the national headquarters of the PDP is not functioning as a visit the various constituencies in River State. It is time to hear from our people. We need to visit our chiefs, our women, our youths. We need to go to our various wards. We need to visit our various local government areas and find out what is going on. We need to see and hear from our people so that we can know how best to serve them, how best to represent them. We need to get more facts, more information. And that is why the Constitution has empowered us to proceed on recess whenever we feel it is necessary for us to do so. Distinguished colleagues, motion has been moved and seconded. This House stands adjourned till Monday, the 26th day of January 2026 at 10 a.m. By way of announcement, I'd like to inform the House.
Nuisance, Lele.
You hear that? It couldn't really pinpoint why they are leaving, other than PDP has become vindictive. The national office is not functioning, and they need to go to their constituencies to go and talk to their people and find out what is going on. I don't even understand. And I think he also said something like this. Let's see.
Distinguished colleagues, very happily, let me announce to honorable members that your Speaker, Right Honorable Martin Chike Amewule, has decided and has indeed written to my ward chairman. I've written to my ward chairman, Mr. Osondolo. There's the PDP ward chairman, Obiakpo Ward 1, of my decision to leave the People's Democratic Party. Distinguished colleagues, APC is my new party. I will do all that is needed to be done towards ensuring that the party card of the All Progressive Congress is issued to me in no time. But as I speak today, I am a member of the All Progressive Congress, and I'm happy to be a member of the APC so that we can join forces with Mr. President. Mr. President is doing so much for this country. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu means well for Nigeria. He's tackling issues of security headlong. The president has shown love to Rivers State. Mr. President is helping Rivers people to be part of the governance of this country. So I'm so delighted to be part of the All Progressive Congress so that we can support Mr. President right inside the All Progressive Congress. But the major reason for leaving the PDP is because of the division in PDP. Thank you, distinguished colleagues.
We are a poor nation. The ban coal will follow. They say firewood not fall. They say we need to plant more trees. And they are not giving us money. We need to open our eyes, try shining, and tell the West. If you don't guarantee our finances and work with us to stop this, we are not going to comply with your climate change. They're doing.
Things are getting better for Nigeria. Things are getting better. For Asiwaju is on the throne. Things are getting better. Things are getting better. Things are getting better. Mr. President, things are getting better. Hey, I said, things are getting better for Nigeria. For Nigeria is on the way. Progressive government. Things are getting better. Asiwaju, congratulations.
Asiwaju, congratulations. Because that's what everybody's saying. Tinubu is doing so well. He's tackling the security. The economy is fine. The interest rates is fine. The inflation is coming down. The price of food is coming down, and all of that stuff. People call them the professional psychopaths, right? You won't be wrong. However, here is with the weakest response. I didn't push them. They did that on their own. Me, I have not left a PDP. I didn't even know that there was a rumor that Wike has been arrested in France. You remember he's been arrested in France. Now he's debunked that in Abuja today, and then went on to speak on what's going on in Rivers. What's going to happen to Fubara now, by the way? Any idea? Wike.
Particularly from your critics. Just a few days ago, I mean, there was a lot of clips circulating that you've been arrested in France. You know, people, taking all kinds of rumors around. Whereas on that same day, we're somewhere around Buhari inspecting projects. So could you talk us through how you manage to, insulate yourself from distractions from critics and keep doing your job?
Well, what's important that you remain focused. Like you said, they were the ones that were arrested. Like you said on Saturday, we're inspecting Kubwa Road. You see, people would like to distract you. But the moment you are focused, you know what you are doing. You will not be perturbed by whatever they would say. Remember last time they said they were sick and they were flown overseas. This time around, they said they have been arrested in France. I'm doing my job. So it's for you to remain focused. In fact, their boss, who is the president, is happy what you're doing. And then you too, you are focused to deliver on the mandate that been given to you. People will say all kinds of things, But in them, they're happy that we're doing a good job. But because they want to distract you, they want to carry all kinds of propaganda. Since you know what you're doing, the only thing is remain focused and deliver on the mandate given to you by Mr. President. So, no Sultan, but I know that what's important is that you are doing your job. So, when they carry out this kind of lies, at the point, people will no longer even read the jokes they try to, tell. So, for me, focus is the major thing. Are you focused? Are you trying to, don't try to be distracted. It is always
Everybody should do politics. It is will not be happy that they are doing well. So we are focused and we will not be distracted at all.
Final question, sir. The way for the project is crucial, sir. Would you want to comment on the level of 16 of the lawmakers after elected to DPs?
Well, it's unfortunate. I have always said that when everybody has the right to make a choice, the parties fully factionalized, and the requirement of the Constitution said that when a faction is factionalized, they are bound to leave the party. I'm still in PDP. You see that not everybody that have left. I believe 16 or 17 of them have left out of 27. We still have a quite good number, about 10. And we continue to work together. They never told me, but they have a right. So those who remain will continue to work together. And that's what I've said to the party. Put your house in order. If at the end of the day, if you don't put your house in order, you go. It's the party that loses. And this of the party to work together to see how they remain in a relevant position. The thoughts they choose.
I know. Anyway, that was a very wicked for his boys. They are happy, at least.
My wedding.
It's crazy, right? Wike controls the PDP and APC. So the person that the court confirmed as the chairman of APC in Rivers State is not recognized by even Tinubu or APC in Abuja. They just left Rivers State APC. Like, you know what I mean? Tony Okocha, that guy you saw with Tinubu's cap in the last part of the video, is no longer the chairman of APC, but he's being funded by Wike, okay, to make him look legit in that sense, right? While the original chairman of APC in Rivers State is not recognized at the national level because of Wike. So similarly in PDP, right? So with the Wike's people are still those who are controlling the PDP in Rivers, okay? So he funded both parties. And to him, it is a unity party in Rivers, meaning PDP, APC, they are one. So they will share positions and say, okay, you can take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You will take 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, like that. So the lawmakers that left for APC today, the Martins Amawule, we is from Obiakpo, with the weakest local government. Then you have Dumle Mao Gokana, the one called Major Jack Akuku. That one is from Akuku Toru 1. Linda Stewart is from Okrika constituency. Franklin Nwabochi, that one is from Ogba Egbema Ondoni constituency. Azeru Okpara, that one is from Port Harcourt 3 constituency. Arnold Dennis is from Ogu Bolu constituency. Peter Abe, that one is from Degema. Lolo Opwende, that one is Akukutoru 2 constituency. Tekena Wellington, that one is from Asari Toru 1. And then you have Igwe Afoji from Eleme. Solomon Wami from Port Harcourt 1. Enemy George, Asaru Toru 2 constituency. Then they have another one, there's another one called a Small Adoki. That one is from Port Harcourt 2 constituency. Number 15, Ofix Kabank. That one is from Andoni constituency. And the last one is Chimezie Nwakwo, who is from Eche. constituency. So 16 of them have now become the members of APC, and we want to see what drama is going to follow. Just for the side. Right. The policemen, retired policemen in Nigeria, they have been protesting, right? Because their pension was sort of like attached to a particular government policy that, according to them, has made it difficult for them to access their own pension, gratuity and all that. You've probably seen a lot of them protested in the last few weeks and months. Sowore even like joined them at a point to protest at the National Assembly, demanding that they be taken off, and according to them, that will ease up the release of their pension. Amen. So when the National Assembly today then announced that they have finally removed them from that pension, from that pay system and all that, they were there to celebrate. I just thought I should add it because I shared the time they were tear gassed, they were brutalized. These retired policemen. But right now, maybe the first step to their own supposed peaceful retirement is this, because I don't understand this excitement, or it must mean something.
Go behind you now. No, come this side.
To the glory of Almighty God, we want to praise Him first and foremost for this historical feat that was made today by the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The protracted police exit bill that has been lingering since 9th Assembly has been finally passed today. I want to thank His Excellency, distinguished Senator Godswill Akpabio, and his deputy and all member of the Senate, the Right Honorable Speaker, Tajuddin Abbas, Honorable Muhammad Jallo, the House Committee on Police Affairs, Senator Bamidele, our dynamic, our ever versatile brother from Ekiti State, who is the Senate Majority Leader, for the role he played in ensuring that this bill was passed. We are grateful to each and every one of them. We want to thank the entire retirees for their resilience, for their support, and for their patience till this history was made achieved. Thank God. We thank everybody. We shall celebrate when our indefatigable president, His Excellency President Ahmed Bola Tinubu, GCFR, will eventually give assent to the bill. And we know that one will be done with dispatch. So we thank you all. We thank God. We thank all our supporters, all the people who have played one role or the other. You cannot mention their name. God will bless all of you. God will bless all of us. Okay, so Lord live retiree of Federal Republic of Nigeria. Lord live Nigeria Police Force. Lord live Federal Republic.
Boko Haram. You can hear from the horse's mouth. That is the national coordinator, retired CSP affair. I, DSP Ilyasu Aliu, I want to set it clear to the whole Nigerian police, both serving and retired. Today, they are out of slavery's contribution pension scheme. they have to go and jubilate, both the serving and retire. Today is our independent day, and by the grace of God, we urge Mr. President to sir?
Call the date.
Today is 4th of December 2025. Is a deal day for us out of a slavery contribution. So it's a jubilating day for serving and retiring.
You won't need a car to travel. You won't need an aeroplane to travel. You will just say, I want to go to London. And you'll be in London. Either you believe it or not.
So it's still a long way to go for them. And they will probably be joining the queue. Do you remember the Super Falcons that they promised $100,000 each? And they also promised them houses and so many other things. Well, I am not happy to tell you that none of them has been redeemed by Tifnumbu regime. But yeah, to them, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step. So eventually, they will still live to enjoy the fruit of their labor in their retirement. As we all have to go and retire to bed now, for those of us who are very close to should be in bed, and the rest who still have a few hours for the rest of the day, enjoy the rest of the day, your day, right? And for the rest of us, we're going to say good night. And to you, good night. Thank you for your time. Please don't forget to like us. Well, if you haven't, please do now. It's the best time to do it. I'll see you again. Good night.
Maiyegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Maiyegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Maiyegun ti dé o ọ̀rẹ́ ara yìí. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Lórí Facebook lórí YouTube. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Maiyegun já wa sí. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Bó bá ṣe àní Maiyegun máa wí. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Ó sì tún ṣe eré wàá gbọ́ níbẹ̀ o. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Maiyegun dayari Politico. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Godfatherism kò sí lọ́rọ̀ Maiyegun. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Ẹ farabalẹ̀ sẹ́ o kẹgọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu o. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Àní Maiyegun làwa mọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì. Maiyegun ti dé. Maiyegun ti dé. Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rákì. Maiyegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì. Maiyegun ti dé. Lórí Facebook. Maiyegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì. Maiyegun ti dé. Lórí YouTube. Maiyegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì. Maiyegun ti dé. Bọ́ bàbá gbé wúrẹ́. Maiyegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì. Maiyegun ti dé. Bíjó ìgbádìyẹ. Maiyegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì. Maiyegun ti dé. Bí pẹ̀sìdó bá rúfin o. Maiyegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì. Maiyegun ti dé. Bí gómìnà gbówó jẹ. Maiyegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì. Maiyegun ọlọ́pàá tí ń darí bá àní ẹ̀sùn rájì aṣòfin tí ń rúfin o àní ẹ̀sùn rájì òkúra olóṣèlú àní ẹ̀sùn rájì ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rájì àní ẹ̀sùn rájì. Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rájì. Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rájì. ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran o.
Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rájì. Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rájì. ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ o Maiyegun ó sọ pé wọ́n ò fẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀. Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ Maiyegun ó sọ pé wọ́n ò fẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀. Oníkan ṣáàtì ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe fáwọn ará ìlú tó gbé wọn débẹ̀ o.
Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rájì. Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rájì. ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Kì máa yí ṣeré ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣẹ̀fẹ̀. Kì máa yí ṣeré ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣẹ̀fẹ̀. Ẹni bá ti lè lẹ́bọ̀ lẹ́rù o ọmọ bá dèrò kàṣàyè tú wọn síta.
Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rájì. Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rájì. ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Tẹnitẹni ọmọ Maiyegun ọ̀rẹ́ ara ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni mo fọlọ́run ṣọ́ ẹ̀ bá kìlẹ́bù. Lóòótọ́ olódodo ìlú ọ̀tá ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni ìwọ ṣá máa ń ṣọ́ra kò sì mọ́ bẹ̀rù. Bọ́tà ń lérí bóníṣègùn lé káwọn mọ̀mọ́ fi ṣera wọn ni ó ti dẹrùn tí wọn ò gbọ́dọ̀ sì mọ́ bẹ̀. Èèpo ọ̀bọ̀lọmọ bá dérò tàjẹ́ ò gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́ ó ti dọba lórí àbínú ẹni kò sì mọ́ bùyà. Àìsíwọ̀lú ní ẹnìkẹ́ ìgbódì ẹyin lábàrá o ó kó ẹni tó bá dán o àkàmù. Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rájì. Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rájì o. Ẹni bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dèrò òní fi wọ́n níran o.
Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rájì. Maiyegun ti dé gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rájì. ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.